Hello, good morning to everyone, and welcome to the Onepoint Oneness meditation session. Thank you all for joining us today. This is our fifth session, and it's been great to see over the last few weeks the numbers of people viewing and watching the video on YouTube afterwards has been growing. So that's really good to see. My name is Matthew. I'm part of the team at Onepoint Consulting. And for those of you that are new here, first time, we started this initiative a few weeks ago. And the main reason is that a lot of us in the company have a long-standing meditation practice that we find is always beneficial. And due to the extraordinary circumstances recently, we really felt that a lot of people could benefit from hearing more about meditation practice. So we wanted to share these sessions. So very warm welcome. Today I'm delighted to welcome back Isabelle, who's run one of the sessions or a few of the sessions actually for us before. Isabelle is, she's come on the screen, that's great. Isabelle is a strong advocate of the inside out approach to a happy, fulfilling and successful life. She has an MBA in international business and has been working as a personal development and meditation teacher for the last 20 years. Isabelle is going to be talking today on the topic of discerning for a happier future. So Isabelle, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Matthew. And well, good morning to everyone. Discernment, you might wonder why we are talking about discernment, but in the Raj Yoga 8 powers of the intellect, the 8 abilities of the soul that are useful to use in order to have a happier and more successful life, we start in sequence. So we started with the power to withdraw, to detach yourself from what's happening around you and taking information from outside so you're not so influenced. And then we talked about with Aruna about packing up what's in your mind, decluttering your mind. And then we talked with Mike about dealing with difficult people, but it's also a difficult situation, how to be more accepting and respectful. And in a way, opening your heart rather than resisting or blaming or criticizing what's happening around you. So once you kind of detached a little bit and decluttered your mind and you're left with how you feel and you learn to open your heart and therefore tolerate or be more detached on what's happening around you, then Yogesh talked about being yourself. And what I'm bringing today is the element of, okay, I'm being myself, I'm being a calm, open being with a mind that is hopefully clean, clear. So I've learned to do those other steps. And if I haven't, it's okay. I just go back to sitting down, withdrawing from the intake of information. And I take it step by step, make sure that I focus on what I really want to be focusing on. And I ease my emotions and my stresses or fears by learning to deeply accept what is. And then we have to make decisions. We have to move in life. We have to be active. We have to interact with people. So I find those 4 first powers to be kind of a prep work, so that then you can move into the world and start to make decisions that we have to make, every minute, probably, or even more. Some are automatic decisions that, we've made once, twice, 3 times, it's become a habit, so we don't even realize we're deciding how we make our cup of tea or our cup of coffee. We just do it by habit. But once we made a decision, and this is how we do things. But there's other decisions that we make maybe in meetings, and when someone is asking us a question, or when we have to maybe change the course of our lives. And this is where you really need to apply the power to discern, together with all those preparation step that we've done before. And the discernment is to be able to see all that there is, and not just what comes to my mind now, and I'm saying, well, this is what I've always done, this is what I'll do, or to say, this seems to be my only option, so let's do that. Or, well, if they do that, then I'll do that. So that doesn't really show a great kind of well-paused, well-thought about, well-considered decision-making. And it's not that I'm saying we need to analyze everything, but what my experience is that if I do come to a very calm space, it's as if I am now on a boat on an ocean that is very calm. My mind is calm. I'm able to see more clearly what's in front of me. Fear, anger, judgments, hurt, all of this might actually cloud, but when I'm able to calm myself down, I'm able to see more clearly. I'm also able to see a wider perspective, and that's really important because we can make decisions that are good for us and that will kind of nourish our happiness, and I'll come back to that because it's very important. Happiness is not something that you gain, it's something that you are and that you need to nourish. But just to come back to the right state of mind in a way to make a decision, to be able to see all the options that are in front of me. Being calm, I see clearly. Seeing all the perspective, seeing a wider perspective, I'm able to also consider or include in my decision making what the impact of that decision will be on other people, how it will benefit them. The third aspect that I see is when I'm able to be calm and stable and still, I'm also able to project myself into the future. If I do this today, it might be a gain for me and for other people, but what will be the repercussions? What will be the consequences of that decision tomorrow, in a week's time? So a calm state of mind, an open mind where I've been able to kind of ease the fears and the stresses, and I've kind of gone before them. I've kind of tuned into myself, to my natural state of being, and that's what we've been practicing with the meditations for the past 4 weeks. And that's what we'll do today too, as a first step, because it is my foundation. Let's say if I was to ask you to think of a moment in your life when you truly felt alive, when you truly felt, well, happy, when you truly felt that your life had meaning, that you were of great value in the world that you live in. If I was to ask you to remember a moment, it might be really something small. It doesn't have to be something big. But I want you to tune into the feeling when you felt so great. It's like a deep, deep contentment. You felt you were at the right place, and that whatever you did, big or small, it really made a difference. Most of the time when I ask that question, people would remember a moment where they helped someone, a moment where they were there, they were sharing, they were giving. And then if I ask you, the state of your mind at that time, did you feel, angry, stressed, and efficient? Or maybe you felt present, simple, not too many thoughts, caring, and just wanting to give of yourself freely and happily. Oftentimes when we're helping the other, when we're sharing, when we're giving, it gives a sense of purpose. It gives us a sense of fulfillment that actually we may not get when we win the lottery. If we were to be really successful in business, those things may bring us temporary excitement and joyful moments and all of this, but they may not make us feel meaningful, purposeful, and significant. That feeling seems to be more connected with being simply myself, naturally myself, and giving of me, being there for others, not just for me, but just being there for the other. And so it's an element of serving, it's an element of sharing, it's an element of helping. And when we do this, it's not so much what we do for the other, but more how we do it. And that's why I underline and I ask you, what would be your state of mind in that moment where you felt truly significant and purposeful in your life, when you felt alive? And that state of mind seemed to be the key. So that you have an intellect or an IQ of whatever a high IQ is, 170, 180, or if you have a very small IQ, actually it doesn't really matter. This is the tools that you have. What we're talking about here is there's a situation, you've got your tools, and you actually have a lot of options on what to do with your tools. But you also can use them in a way, so the how is important here, that will actually allow you to remain at peace and generate or make decisions and go into actions that will benefit others around you, and that will have a consequence that is good for you now and for the future. So happiness, as we say, it's not an outside in business and it's inside out business. So when you come into calmness, you seem to be able to see clearly, see more widely, and see into the future, and actually use your tools, who you are, in a way that actually makes you feel just perfect the way you are, just happy being you, and knowing that just by being you and doing things in the way that is close to your heart, and I mean here the peaceful heart that is, kind of deep within the consciousness, the one that thinks and the one that makes a decision, that I has a very peaceful heart. When you can touch that, there's a feeling that I'm okay. My life matters. I'm at my best. I don't think we can be any better or any more powerful than to be who you are. So discerning is about, my feeling is not about having a benchmark of this is a great decision and this is the way that this successful person do it and that's how I should do it. It's tune into yourself and make decisions from a very peaceful and calm place. Where actually you allow yourself to see all the ways that you can do things, and that by being naturally yourself, you can touch people's heart, and it will be remembered much more. They will remember much more how you did it and how you were with them, and your presence and your listening and your giving, than maybe even what you did. So what we'll do now, if that's okay, is that we'll go through a meditation, and the first part of it will, actually the main part of it will be to take the first few steps of centering ourselves, coming back into being me and experiencing that. And when I suggest thoughts, you can, if you're a very busy person, you may hear my thoughts and even what I said from the beginning and not catch anything, not engage with anything. And so what will happen is that you're remaining in your own bubble and you're just hearing me and my thoughts and my suggestions and whatever I'm saying, just as a noise that comes by. But what I'm inviting you to do during the meditation is actually to engage with the thought. So you kind of hear it truly, and you go into an experience of it, not what I want you to experience, but what it means for you. And you'll see that you might gain a lot more from this short meditation that we'll do. So it's more of an engaged meditation. So I invite you to now for the next 10 minutes to sit comfortably, and hopefully you are already. And maybe as a point of focus, to keep your eyes open is a good idea. I mean, you probably heard it already. It just allows you to be able to do this exercise of withdrawing and packing up and clearing and whenever and wherever. So might be a good idea to use that point of focus you've got in front of you now. And what I want you to, what I invite you to do is to look at that point of focus, just kind of resting your gaze on that point. You're not staring. And now, without moving your eyes, becoming aware of other things that are around this point of focus. And of course, you see the rest of your computer and everything else that is around. Without moving your eyes, just notice 2 or 3 things that are around you. And accept them just the way they are. And let them be. I want you to do the same now with what you hear through your ears. Notice 1, 2, 3 sounds that are in the environment around you. I want you to just accept them the way they are. Don't name them, don't like or dislike them, just accept them the way they are. And then I want you to become aware that the one that is seeing, the one that is listening, is actually behind the eyes and between the ears. You are in a space that we call the mind. The thinker, the one who makes the decisions, the one who sees and listens, is the being, the soul within the mind. And the mind is your space. And oftentimes we associate ourselves so much with the state of our mind. If we have a bad mood, it's very difficult to make a kind decision. We're too caught up in that emotion. But now we will. We will accept what we see and what we feel, what we hear in our minds, just the way it is. Those thoughts, those images, those memories, those feelings, I've all generated them consciously or as a reaction to what's happening around me. That's fine. But they are my creation, they're not me. So for a moment, what we'll do is we'll leave our creation alone. We'll just imagine that it's a cloud. All that you see, all that you hear, all that you feel. Imagine that it's a cloud in front of you and you rise above it. In a way to feel the self before it created all of that, before it generated all those thoughts. I want you to engage that being. One of the ways is to remember what I am at my core and what's natural for me, that being, is actually deep peace. All the stresses and the worries actually are generated by me when I leave that understanding that peace is my state of being. And I may want to gain peace by doing something, gaining something, getting rid of something. It's not the case. Peace is what I am and what I can share freely at any point in time, what I can infuse in all my thoughts and all my interactions. So let's do that now. And the thought that I would really invite you to engage with is this one. I am peace. And turn this word into an experience. Peace helps you to feel completely relaxed. Peace is very stable. I feel free and clear. Real peace is a very powerful feeling, and I want you to go even deeper into that, as if there was a light in front of you that is very deeply peaceful, and you step into it, and you experience that peace even more deeply. Imagine another light in front of you that is even more peaceful. You step into it and experience peace even more deeply. And if I ask you now to emanate that peace, so it goes beyond that space of your mind. Emanate that peace so that it is like a light that spreads throughout your body and all around it. It's not a thing that we're emanating, it's just a feeling, deep feeling of peace. Now I want you to dig even deeper into that peace and emanate it so that it spreads in the building that you're in, everywhere. This feeling is not stopped by walls or people, just goes right through. Now I want you to hold that if you can. And bring on the screen of your mind. You know, your mind is a space, and you, the being of consciousness, the soul is there now, just experiencing and emanating peace. And in front of you, what we call the screen of your mind, I want you to see the scene or a decision that you need to make at the moment. Might be a small decision. What am I going to do tonight? Or what am I going to eat? It might be a more important decision on what do I really want for them from that meeting that I'm going into after lunch. Whatever it is, just one. Start with one and start with a simple one. A decision that you have to make. Now I want you to hold that decision. You don't need to rush for a solution. We often try to rush, and that's where we lose that peace, lose that calm. I want you to see how you can respond to that problem, that decision. I want you to hold in mind that happiness is not so much in what you gain or win or escape from. Happiness is just being myself. And sharing the best of myself. And seeing how it helps the situation flourish. If I hold that from watching TV all night, I might consider other options. From wanting an output from the meeting that I'm going into, I might decide to actually listen carefully to see what's really happening. I might choose to be in a different way, not rush for anything. Definitely aim for options and choices that benefit me, others. Things that give. So before I watch TV, I might connect with someone that I've been thinking of connecting with for a long time. See what your heart says, that peaceful heart. I want you to become aware of that point in front of you again. And everything that is around it. Holding that peace, I want you to also become aware again of all the noises around you. Like coming back to the situation that you're in, place that you're in. But with an experience of where I come from when I do things that give. So I hope that this was helpful. And you'll see that as you practice meditating, withdrawing and tuning into yourself, you'll be able to do it faster and faster. And the aim is not to go back to calm when you realize that you're stressed and you have to make a decision. Actually, the aim is to maintain that calm and make decisions that helps you stay there and nourish that. So that's it from me.
Great, super. Thank you, Isabelle. really enjoyed, lovely introduction to the topic, and then the meditation really gave the experience of what you were talking about. I love this idea of, that it's not about changing anything outside, it's discerning that happiness is inside of us. We don't need to drop anything or gain anything from outside. I think particularly relevant when probably at the moment a lot of us are wishing for different external situations, but understanding change comes from inside. So thank you very much for that. I'm sure everybody enjoyed that. And just in closing, to say that in the YouTube chat, you'll be able to see a link to the Onepoint Oneness website, webpage where you can find out about future talks, and also the recordings of the past sessions, and this session will be available on YouTube. So please feel free to share the links with friends if you feel that there's somebody else you know who can benefit from this. I know a lot of people have been watching the recordings afterwards, so that's great. And also there's links to a feedback form. So if you would like to give us some feedback, or if you have a question that's come up for you that you'd like to put to Isabelle, what we can do if you fill it in on the form is we can pass that question on for you. So all those things that are there. And Isabelle, just to say thanks once again for being with us today. Thank you to everybody else for joining. And just next week to say the following on the theme of the 8 powers, from the power to discern this week, we have the power to decide next week. That's the topic, choice brings responsibility. And we're happy to welcome back Aruna Ladva for that session. So thanks, Isabelle, and thanks
you
for joining.
Yeah, good happy day to everyone.
Yes, a good happy day to everyone. Thanks very much, and goodbye.
Okay. Bye.